For 200 years, the Red Planet served as the indispensable heart of the Great Crusade. As the Imperium's primary industrial engine, Mars was responsible for outfitting every Space Marine legion with the weapons and armor required to conquer the stars. That engine was disabled when Fabricator General Kelber Hal unleashed a chaos-powered viral scrap code. The infection tore through the polar basin, corrupting Loyalist forges. This severed data links, shattering the planet's infrastructure and leaving remaining Loyalists isolated as traitor forces advanced. On Terra, Rogal Dorn analyzed the fragmented reports and reached a grim conclusion. With the Traitors firmly entrenched and the Mechanicum in total schism, a standard rescue mission would be a mathematical failure. This supply chain diagram illustrates the logistics of the defense. The Imperial Palace relied on a steady influx of the new Mark IV Maximus pattern armor. With the connection to Mars severed, Terra's active reserves began a rapid, unrecoverable decline. Dorn authorized a brutal orbital raid, stripping his own territory for survival assets before the Traitors could seize the planet's entire output for themselves. First Captain Sigismund led the extraction force to the Mondus Occulum forge complex. There, he met with Fabricator-Locum Kane, one of the few high-ranking officials still loyal to the throne. Kane pleaded for an Imperial counterattack. To him, the forge was a masterwork of human knowledge that had to be defended at all costs. However, Alpha Legion sabotage had already neutralized other Loyalist supply caches across the Sol system. This map shows the resulting bottleneck. Mondus Occulum was the only remaining source of Astartes equipment within reach of Terra. Sigismund followed his orders to the letter. He directed his companies to ignore the burning planet and focus exclusively on lifting crates of finished power armor into orbit. This operation forced a shift in the Imperium's priorities. By leaving the craftsmen behind to secure their cargo, the Imperial Fists preserved the tools of war, while allowing the knowledge required to maintain them to be extinguished. While Sigismund loaded the cargo, Captain Camba Diaz held the landing fields at Mundus Gamma. The environment was an industrial nightmare. The 38% gravity allowed for erratic movement, while the smog-choked air was thick with toxic runoff. They were swarmed by Master Adept Crom's protectors, Skitarii whose bodies had been grotesquely augmented, and whose weapons were redesigned for maximal lethality. Facing odds of 100 to 1, Diaz carved a line into the Martian dust with his power sword. He ordered his men to hold that boundary, vowing that no Imperial Fist would take a single step backward from the landing zone. Behind that line, Universe-class mass conveyors sat on the pads, their holds slowly filling with munitions. The landing zone became a scene of sustained collision as the defenders held the perimeter against the incoming waves. The Imperial Fists deployed their legendary discipline as a stalling tactic, trading transhuman lives for cargo tonnage. The extraction window closed as Kelber Hal's traitor Titan legions began their final advance on the Loyalist positions. The 7th Legion began a fighting withdrawal. The mass conveyors fought through the atmosphere toward the safety of the fleet, while the surviving ground forces retreated to their strike cruisers. As the transports cleared the surface, the Loyalist fleet heavily bombarded the landing sites and orbital elevators they had just defended. This scorched earth finale ensured that any technology they couldn't carry would be denied to the War Master. The fleet then established a permanent cordon. This orbital map shows the transition from a raiding force to a containment force, effectively locking the warring factions within the Martian atmosphere. The raid successfully retrieved Zagreus Kane and exactly 12,000 suits of Mark IV armor, a vital but narrow margin of survival for the coming defense of the throne world. The operation kept the Imperial Palace armed, but it marked the end of the Mechanicum as an independent power. With their home world abandoned, the surviving Loyalist priests were reorganized into the Adeptus Mechanicus, a formal department of the Imperial government. While the tools of survival were saved, the loss of the Martian forges signaled the start of a long industrial decline for the human species.